Last part of Season 1 starts with Rose telling Lyta about the mysterious dreaming of Jed, locating and meeting him briefly. Lyta believes Rose because she woke up pregnant after dreaming of having a baby with Hector. Matthew is watching this all happen and reports back to Lucien in the dreaming world, alerting her that what she feared is now happening. According to Lucien, Rose is unintentionally weakening the walls between the waking world and the dream world. The Raven fears that Rose, being a dream vortex, helped Lyta become pregnant. Meanwhile, Jed and Corinthian stop for ice cream. Jed wonders when he will be seeing his sister. The Nightmare explains she will meet them at a work convention he has to go to. After hearing her close friend is a dream vortex and is the reason she is pregnant, Lyta is happy that she found Hector and Rose found Jed. She explains how her husband asked her to live with him. She is considering it due to her lack of life when she's awake. Just then, Rose gets a call from Corinthian, who tells her he has her brother. He tells her to meet them at the Royal Empire Hotel in Georgia, which is hosting something called a serial convention. We know this is the serial killer convention in which Corinthian is set to be a special guest. But Jed and Rose have no idea. Rose realizes she is 3 hours away from Georgia, so she begins getting ready. Meanwhile, Corinthian checks in at this hotel while Jed sits in the lobby. The 3 members of the committee who approached Corinthian for the event come to escort their guest of honor, and notice Jed with him. Back in the B&B, Rose and Lyta receive a visit from their housemate Gilbert. Rose informs the nice British man that she is going to Georgia to pick up her brother. Gilbert volunteers to go with them. He explains how he has his cane and a revolver to use to protect her if need be. Lyta decides to stay at the hotel so she can go into her dreams and be with Hector. There appears to be an earthquake when they are being intimate, but they both shrug it off. However, in reality, the ground surrounding their dream home has actual cracks in the ground. In the dreaming world, a janitor named Mervyn Pumpkinhead is looking for Lucien, but finds the Dream Lord instead. Morpheus asks why he was looking for Lucien. The janitor explains how he has some seismic activity to report. The Lord takes offense to this as he is the king of dreams. In response to this, he storms off and confronts his librarian. He asks if Lucien has any idea about the cause of the seismic disturbances. Lucien knows it has to do with Rose being a dream vortex. She warns her lord about letting Rose roam free since she is causing cracks in the Dreaming's foundation. But of course, Morpheus still wants the vortex to lead him to Corinthian and Fiddler's Green. But the clock is ticking. In the waking world, as Gilbert drives, Rose talks with Unity on the phone. Unity offers to fly the siblings to London and to help make Rose her brother's legal guardian. This is something Rose absolutely wants. After she hangs up, Rose is delighted she might finally have a life and throws around the idea of her great-grandchildren moving to London so they can be one family. In Georgia, Corinthian heads out to the convention and tells Jed to stay in his room and not open the door for anyone. The Nightmare heads down to the function room to be introduced as the guest of honor for the serial killer or collector convention. Following his introduction, Corinthian and another man look longingly at each other. While this is going on, however, it is revealed that Jed left his room and is watching the convention. Back in the car, Rose falls asleep to Gilbert's rambling, and suddenly, she finds herself in the dreaming world. She finds Lyta, who thinks it has been months even though it has only been 2 hours. As the two walk to Lyta and Hector's house, Lord Morpheus appears and watches the two, realizing that Lucien was right about Rose. Morpheus then confronts Hector, telling him that he is simply a ghost hiding in the dream world, and directs him to go to his place in the dead. Rose and Lyta walk in as they overhear their conversation. Hector and Lyta don't like this, but the Dream Lord has the upper hand and makes Hector disintegrate, sending him to the afterlife. He fades away as Morpheus tells Lyta that her husband died a long time ago. To make matters worse, the Lord also tells Lyta that he will come back to take her baby, as because it was conceived in the dream world, he believes that it belongs to him. Ending the dream, Lord Morpheus returns to his palace to find Rose is still with him. She is mad at him for his actions and threatens him to stay away from her loved ones. Rose begins showing her true strength when she ends her dream herself. She wakes up to a call from Lyta and the two open up while talking about their experience in Lyta's dream. Before long, Rose and Gilbert arrive at the convention. While at the convention, Corinthian flights with a fan who calls himself the Boogeyman. However, the Nightmare knows that the real Boogeyman died years ago, and that this guy's name is actually an writer named Philip Sitz. He alerts the planning committee about him. Arriving at the convention, Rose and Gilbert split up to look for Jed. Gilbert walks down a hallway poking his head into the conferences and discovers the true nature of the convention and its convention goers. Rose is then surprised to find out from the front desk concierge that Gilbert had left, giving her a key to a room. We realize that the British guy left after coming face to face with Corinthian. Meanwhile, in the dreaming world, Lucien tells her lord that Rose did find Corinthian and Fiddler's Green. Just then, Gilbert shows up, revealing himself to be Fiddler's Green. He tells his lord that he left to explore the waking world and learn more about humanity. He warns Morpheus of Corinthian since he is with Rose. He adds that the Nightmare is leading a cult and is trying to destroy the waking world, something that the Dream Lord is already aware of. Back at the convention, Corinthian tricks the Bujamin impersonator to go with him somewhere private. Suddenly, the planning committee arrives and kills Philip. While this is happening, Jed walks in to find the gruesome murder. He runs away, horrified. Corinthian then chases after the boy. Jed runs into Funland, one of the desk workers, who assures Jed that he'll be safe with him, leading him up to his hotel room. But soon enough it becomes apparent that this is not safe at all. Jed runs away and finally reunites with Rose in the hallway. But the danger doesn't stop there. Corinthian appears and stabs Funland in the back, telling the siblings, "You're safe with me," in an effort to get Rose on his side. The Nightmare tells her that Morpheus wants to kill her because of her breaking the wall between the dreaming and the waking world, while he wants to save her life. Rose and Jed stay in a hotel room while Corinthian goes to give his speech at the convention. During his keynote speech, the Corinthian talks about their shared love of killing. He concludes this by having them all close their eyes and visualize their greatness. As this is happening, the King of Dreams appears and we see that everyone else in the room is sleeping. We're watching their dreams. The Nightmare pulls out a knife to defend himself from Morpheus and ends up successfully cutting it through the Dream Lord's hand. While this goes on, Rose and Jed go through the hotel until they come across the shared dream of every collector at the convention. They try to escape and run into Lord Morpheus in the dream, who tries to get Rose to wake up. The Dream Lord and the Nightmare try to convince Rose to do what they want, but she states she is going to find her own way. Morpheus explains that everyone in the waking world will die if they don't do something, and Rose pulls the walls between the two worlds back up. With a proud Morpheus looking on, she ends the dream without falling under Corinthian's lies. Returning to the waking world and in the function room, the Dream Lord has healed his hand wound and regained his strength. He then destroys Corinthian, making him collapse into dust. Only a small skull is left, which the Lord takes with him. In the next scene, we see the crowd at the convention is woken up, and Morpheus gives a speech to them all about the judgment he's about to cast down on them. Because of their crimes and wrongdoings, he will make them feel the pain of the people they've harmed. After this, we quickly start to see the consequences of the Dream Lord's power. One woman calls 911 to confess to a crime, while we see another man shoot himself in his car. It's total chaos, and Rose and Jed get out of there as fast as they can. As for Morpheus, he says he'll find Rose and find a way to end it all once she falls asleep next. While on the run, Rose receives a call from Lyta, who is in labor at the hospital, expecting her baby to be born. Rose believes Morpheus will kill her, but Lyta reminds her how much power she has and tells her to go find him and end everything. Later that night, Rose starts traveling through people's dreams and sees a huge cloud in the sky and a crack in the earth that's getting bigger and bigger. Morpheus appears and tells Rose that she's already caused a lot of damage, but nothing he can't fix. According to him, no one is safe until the vortex is killed. Fiddler's Green, Gilbert shows up and offers to sacrifice his own life to save Rose, but the Dream Lord says that isn't possible. Meanwhile, during her sleep, Unity travels to Lucian's library in her dreams and looks for the story of her life. Back to Morpheus and Rose, the former says he doesn't want to kill Rose, but that it's his responsibility, apologizing. Rose has come to terms with her reality and says she'll do whatever it takes to save her brother and her friends. The Dream Lord reaches out, seemingly to kill her, but not before Lucian appears with Unity. Lucian tells her lord to stop, and she explains that it was actually Unity who was supposed to be the Dream Vortex. The power was handed down to Rose because Morpheus was gone for so long when he was captured by Lord Magus. Next, Unity asks Rose to reach down inside herself and find whatever it is that makes her the Dream Vortex. Rose pulls out a black and red glowing heart and hands it to Unity, who takes her responsibility as the Vortex, as it was supposed to be. Unity dies in order to save Rose and the rest of the waking world. But in a shocking revelation, before Unity dies, Morpheus finds out that the father of Unity's child had golden eyes, meaning only one thing: desire. We realize that Desire is actually Morpheus's brother, who had impregnated Unity long before. Morpheus then tells Rose that she and Jed have his family's blood, before sending her back to the waking world. Later, Rose awakens to the news that Lyta had given birth to a baby boy. She and Jed go to visit them at the hospital and reveal their plans to return to New Jersey. In the next scene, Morpheus visits Desire and confronts him about having a child with Unity. The Dream Lord doesn't understand what Desire's intentions were except perhaps to kill their own blood. He reminds Desire that he only exists to serve the living and threatens him not to mess with him again before storming off. The final scene of the series shifts down to hell. Someone named Lord Azazel has come to see Lucifer on behalf of the Lords of Hell. They offer to invade the dreaming if she wishes, but Lucifer has something else planned. Though she doesn't disclose what that is, she says it's something she's never done before, something that will make God livid and bring Morpheus to his knees. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.